Donald Trump has just signed an executive order preventing trans women and girls from being able to participate in women's sports. Let me explain why this isn't just an attack on trans women, but on all women. We should firstly note the fact that this is the fourth executive order attacking the trans population. This is especially tragic given the fact that the trans population is a very small group of people, and therefore they have very little political voice. We're talking about a group of people who are constantly under physical threat in our society, constantly under emotional attack in our society, and that makes it all the more unforgivable that our government is attacking them. Now, why is this also an attack on women and not just on trans women? Well, remember, from the perspective of the Trump administration, and they've already said it, they believe that all trans women are actually men, and they believe that all trans men are actually women. So notice that this recent executive order says nothing about trans men. In other words, it doesn't try to prevent trans men from being able to participate in women's sport. Why? Well, they believe that trans men are actually women. In other words, they believe that women could never be a threat to men in sport, or frankly, in any way or regard. But they do believe that men are a threat to women. In other words, what they're saying is we're protecting women because these men, if they came in and played women's sport, they would just decimate them. And all these poor girls, oh, those poor things, they would never actually be able to compete because, oh no, a man who is intrinsically better than her is going to be able to beat her all the time. Now, we should note that trans people have been participating in various sports without any incident or issue for a very long time. There isn't a whole lot of example of trans women playing a sport and then all of the women just not being able to compete against them. So my concern here is, and I really want to speak to the women watching this for a moment, please hear me when I say this. Men in our society are raised to believe that they can do whatever you do better if they so chose. It's not just a matter of sport. It's a matter of literally everything. That the only reason why you're able to do what you're doing is simply because men have chosen not to do it. But if any man chose to do what you were doing, he would be able to, by default, do it better. How do I know? Simply ask him, right? Go around, ask some men in your life. Do you think that the worst male football player in the United States is better than the best female football player in the United States? And so many men will tell you yes, and you'll ask why. Why is he still better than her if he's the worst in the league at it? And they will say, well, because he's a man. And so by default, he must be better. And this extends to everything. Men are generally raised to believe that if they chose to do a thing, they could do that thing better. So we're talking about a group of people in our government who believes that men have the right to the kingdom, that at the end of the day, they have the right to grab whatever they want because they're by default better. So this isn't just a matter of saying we don't respect trans women. It's a matter of saying we don't respect any women.